Lucia Cost, voice teacher here. We are back with an episode on voice series. Yeah, I told you this year I'm very focused on some more work for my workshops, etc. I'm also writing my book, so sorry, it is a little less recurrent than the last year. We are going to talk about the tilt of the larynx. The tilt of the larynx, and we are going to do what I do usually to teach the tilt, and especially when, because this is a question that it is not currently put in my vision into the correct context. And second, what it is the tilt of the larynx into the violin functions, so you can visualize both. What it is the tilt of the larynx? If you are a professional, if you are a singer, if you have studied, you know quite well, because they teach it pretty immediately now, and it is defined in so many ways. If you look, just searching larynx tilt, you have those pages that come out. Everybody says something in its own way. You can take it as the action that happens into the cartilages of the larynx when you activate the cricothyroid muscles on the sides and they move the thyroid cartilages. You can say with Catherine Sadolin that is something that you do to get into a more mixed tone, that is the conjunction of the actions of arytenoid and of cricoids, and you will find so many different definitions. It is not to my point of view, it is not a yet settled question, but nothing in voice is settled, and nothing in science usually is settled. It is a necessity and a skill, and something that any kind of effective plus experienced or educated voice is going to do in some way, in some sort, in some way. The teaching that has been done in the last decades, one day we make an analysis on the reasons or why there is one mostly used way of teaching it and of thinking about it, especially in classical field. It is something that to me it's a voice context and style dependent. Also said, in my vision, it's not the only way of doing it. And if you want, it is the appreciation that the larynx as a musculoskeletal system is a mobile musculoskeletal system. And to provide the functions of the muscles into the skills of singing, we can mobilize the positions of the reciprocal position of the cartilages, so to control by that the action of the larynx muscles, the intrinsic larynx muscles. I have an hypothesis that at the center moment, exactly as in the hips, on which I do the workshops and the presentations, some functions are going to be reverted, and it is a function of the positioning of the cartilages of the larynx. It is very difficult to study because the larynx is very difficult to study. It is a vital organ or structure, if you prefer. It is shielded by the cartilages themselves to protect from trauma, etc. And it also protects from studying it. So we have to take some more, bridging ways of investigate its behavior, and especially to investigate how to train correctly. Why I tell you that as for the hips? Because something that is now pretty known in some parts of the rehabilitation fields and training athletes field is that muscles give their function not as you want them. You activate them and you activate all the fibers that you can activate neurologically. But you're not going to control the ratio of the function of the single muscle, neurologically, you are going to control that when they are skeletal muscles, we are talking about skeletal muscles, you are going to control the ratio of the function of this muscle by the position of the joints to which it attaches. And that is so fundamental. And it's also so fortunate, because if in some way you can control the position of the joints, you can control the action of the muscles. Then you just have to activate neurologically them. But you don't have any more to make the effort to understand in which ratio you are activating one muscle, in which ratio you are activating another one. And the sum of the ratios of the functions involved into the positioning of these joints, those joints, will give you the function, the quality of the sound, the control that you want. In the tilt of the larynx, what we experience is exactly that we position and we control vocal effects and vocal note and vocal voicing at a level of so much sophistication when it is correctly done, that we want everybody to have it. Why I'm making this video now? Yeah, everybody teaches the tilt. Okay, but also for the larynx, that is not an isolated system. It is that you position the larynx into your neck and with some ratio of tensions and functions by the extrinsic laryngeal muscles. As if you remember last episode, the extrinsic laryngeal muscles are into the neck. The neck is a stable segment from joint by joint, you see there. And it has postural functions for the weight of the head. Also said, you have to take into account what happens with gravity, what happens with the postural muscles of the neck that have to maintain the stability of the neck, their effect into the larynx positioning, and their effect into the actions of the extrinsic laryngeal muscles that will even more give the positioning that you want, so to activate your tilt. Why make this case? Because I am the one having the unprecedented results when the others cannot. And this is because I put into context when and how to do the tilt. Not just, I cannot solve this singer even if he has learned the tilt. Because we don't use in the vocal technique, and especially in artistic use of the voice, no matter if it is self-taught or taught by someone or found by luck, by all this cognitive capacity that we have that sometimes opens some doors that we immediately put in our mind and in our system because they are so precious that we are not going to, we fix them. We absolutely fix them. We found so many different kind of tilts that sometimes they don't look like tilts. The when, to me, it is very important because, first, if you have a not correct activation of the neck muscles, you're not going to have a correct larynx positioning for the producing of the notes. And if you make a tilt where you're not producing the notes, you're going to have how can I say, it is not really what we call the gifted natural voice giving you the tone, but it is the tilt that makes the vocal folds be able to make a more mixed sound of the tones that you have. And in these, they can go to a higher pitch. Also said, you're going to have the effect of the twang sometimes, the effect of the overdrive that Circe talks about. You're not going to have the effect of a Freddie Mercury, or some of my students that can go in some heights with an easiness that you say, wow, what a fantastic natural voice you have. No, they didn't have that when they arrived to me. And today I'm going to make you 3 examples so you can listen. What can we say about the tilts? To me, the crucial point is, do not teach them or teach to avoid it intentionally for all the period in which you are going to develop the production of the notes into just the correct connection of the general musculoskeletal system and its interactions with the neck muscles, so to have the correct larynx positioning in all the extension that doesn't look like educated. And it is the first point in which I stuck for a little time my singers, no matter if professionals or not professionals. When they are professionals, I give them tricks to go on with their career without interfering with that development that we are going to do. This development takes some time because it takes tissues to develop. We have some tools, I use some tools to do that, and there are some strategies, but it will be for another episode. The thing you will see a couple with Circe, you will not see for Eddie Monroe, and you will not hear for the last one that I'm going to put, which it is a more extreme case, which it is the typical cases with which I work. Circe is not, and Andy Morrow was not, even if they had not found the tilt in the correct positions for their style and their voice. This of the tilt is very important for a second reason. The natural voice and the natural emission is the one that you access by taking away the defensive strategies that, if you remember the other seasons, those defensive strategies are the survival mechanism that we have rooted into the four anatomical systems that mostly we use to produce the voice. The two musculoskeletal systems, the larynx and the general musculoskeletal system. They go into flexion. To get to the natural voice, we must have the correct extension of the mobile segments. Yeah. Respiratory system. The respiratory system, it is wired when an emergency of survival, also said fear, can be also fear of performance, of course, it doesn't make the difference. It is wired to get into the inhale and stuck in the inhale. Also said, you don't have subglottal pressure, you have to push as a crazy, you don't have correct phonation, so you lose your voice in some sort. The fourth, which it is the neurological system, which it is the autonomous nervous system, sympathetic, parasympathetic. The sympathetic system is the one that is wired to take action and inhibit the parasympathetic when we are in emergency. The digestive system, the swallowing system. When you feel emergency, you are going to close the airway, bring up the larynx and swallow. Also said again, you are going to impair your phonation. Where the tilt gets into a great degree of perceived safety. But it is in some sort an opening of the cartilages, if you want, as in a piano. You just open it, you can use your hand, okay? But the fact is, when you do it and you have not addressed to intentionally train yourself to choose the voice into those four systems when the fear is perceived, and so you don't become less fearful, you become more confident and more courageous, and you have the experience that it is not true emergency, and the pleasure and the drive and the easiness of singing is still there, so you can intentionally sing anytime you want. If those get impaired, you have an inefficient tilt, but still you're certain that you're controlling the situation. So you don't learn to intentionally put those in the correct direction first. Second, you put the skillfulness of educated tools. And this is one of the reasons for which my singers and my students, by professionals, even of very high level, even with great problems just 1 year previously, they are judged as amazing natural gifted voices. Because they perceive that I help and teach them, and they see that it's not only effective, but artistically it's much more rewarding to get to the natural voice and use in the context of that the skills of the singer, not at the place of the voice. And now the examples. To what it corresponds the tilt of the larynx into the violin functions? Do you remember we said the larynx is the left hand? We have two because we have coupled muscles, so you can on one side, on the other side. But it has exactly the same function that the left hand of the violin. This thing is important because the tilt of the larynx is the intentional use of your fingers to color, put dynamics, put phrase into your sound. Also said, the intentional use of your hand and of your body on the fingertips. The natural voice is what? Is at first with a more natural hand and just the opening and the positions of the fingers, just to have the note that you're going to use when you learn to go everywhere. Also said, it is the ensemble of your wrist, of your arm, of your shoulder, of your body, or your torsion. Sorry, violinist, I'm saying also a lot of stupid things. Very, very sorry. But it is so useful for us to see that. Give me grace and grace me about the mistakes that I do. If you want your comment, and I will correct myself, but it's useful for us. Think about, you start by a more natural position and you learn to have that as the baseline on which later you grow into organically adding more position and more things. You cannot start by that. If you start by that, your tendons are not ready. You're going to use compensation into the shoulder, as I'm probably doing. You're going to use some compensation into your wrist. So nobody will teach you at first to really work into the sound. And for your larynx, it's the same thing. And it does involve something outside of the larynx, exactly as for your hand. The wrist is important, the shoulder is important, some kind of torsion that you are going to see anymore into an accomplished one. But if you look at beginners, you see all those movements that have to become so well into your structure that you don't perceive big all the time anymore.
I never think I get in trouble with a flick of the wrist. Hey woman, now is your time to please. There was a time when today I smiled. I put my face so bright that I could glow throughout my day. But now everything's getting darker. But now everything's fading away. Every time my heart is trying to keep up with this terrible temptation deep inside.
Think about what time you did me, yeah. Think, let your mind go, let yourself be free. Let's go back, let's go back, let's go way, way, way. I didn't even know you could be much more than 10. I know psychotic, I know doctor, I didn't even know you could be much more than 10. I know psychotic, I know doctor, degree. But didn't taste it with a high Q. See what you do to me. You gotta think about what trying to do to me. Yeah, think.
Benji,
Got to let yourself be.
diffuse Benji.
Oh, freedom, 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 and freedom, freedom, freedom,
Benji,
freedom, and freedom.
exact.
Think about what's trying to do to me, yeah. Think, let your mind go, let yourself be free. Hey, let's go back, let's go back, let's go away, play with them. I didn't even know yet to get a thing with more than 10. I will think of this, that they don't want to be free. Keep the things to the high Q. Say what to do to me. You better think. Think about who's trying to do to me now. Think. Let your mind go. Let yourself be free. Go freedom. 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 Think. Think about who's trying to do to me. Yeah. Think. Let your mind just let yourself be free. Let's go back. Let's go back. Let's go way back with them. I didn't even know you could much more than 10. I did the thing, but I can't see no doctor with a degree. But see the stakes too much IQ. See what you do to me. You better think about what's trying to do to me. I think. Let your mind go, let yourself be free. Oh, freedom, freedom, freedom. Oh, freedom. Freedom, 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 yeah, freedom. Hey, you, think about it. There ain't nothing you could ask without the this what I want. But no one's gonna change. I got to keep with things I don't. Yay! Think about what you tried to do to me. Baby, see, let your mind go, let yourself be free. People walk around every day, think that that's war. Trying to make other people lose mind with secrets they're yours. And I think about what's trying to do to me. Yeah. Let your mind go, let yourself be free. You need me, and I need you. Without each other, there's nothing that you can do. Yeah, think about it, baby. Turn on, baby. Think about it.
Ok, è partita benissimo, vai.
You better think about what's trying to do to me, yeah. Think, let your mind go, let yourself be free. Let's go back, let's go back, let's go wings to play with them. I didn't even know, yeah, you better get me what you more than 10. I know exactly that this don't not to be free. Sing a thing with your IQ, see what you do to me. You better think about what's trying to do to me, yeah. No, freedom, freedom, yeah, freedom, 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 yeah, freedom. Hey, you think about it. Ain't no good talking, you can't accept it not wrong. But I want so much teachers that got to keep good things I don't. Yeah, think about what's trying to do to me. Baby, think, let your mind go, let yourself be free. Woo! The people walk on everything, think to think score. You lose your mind, but you get to go on that course. Oh, think about what's trying to do to me. Yeah, 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 yeah. Make your mind to let yourself be free. If you need me, and I need you, without each other, there's nothing that you can do. Yeah, without the baby, do it all night. Think about it, baby. Bello,
Lo so.
bello, bello. Oh, sta B, B.
Trama segredo teus planos, parte sem dizer adeus, nem lembra dos meus desenganos, feri quem todo perdeu, coração leviano não sabe o que pobre navegante, meu coração amante, enfrentou a tempestade no mar da paixão e da loucura, fruto da minha.
Per quali notti, quali vicoli nel fondo di quale mare, dentro il quale mai città segreta. Alla fine di che storia disperata, dove sei, mio grande amore, dimmi dove io devo andare, e che deserto attraversare, che montagne devo scalare, e tra quale gente ti confondi, dietro quale volto mai tu ti nascondi. Dove sei mio grande si è parlato troppo che non parlo più. Io ti prego amore, dimmi cosa devo fare e quale strada c'è che porta fino a te. Dove devo cercare ancora, quanta solitudine, che inferno devo passare, dentro quale squallida stazione, dietro che maledettissimo portone. Dove sei, mio grande amore, dimmi dove io devo andare, quale treno devo prendere e imbarcarmi, su quale nave e tra quale gente ti confondi, dietro quale volto mai tu ti nascondi. Dove sei, mio grande amore?
Nuda sulla pianta, prendeti il sole con me, e cantavano per noi sui rami le allodole. Ora invece qui nella città i motori delle macchine già ci cantano la marcia funebre, e le fabbriche ci profumano anche l'aria.
Esatto, vai. Pizza. Esatto, alfabeto. Vedi che adesso ti senti stabile e riesci a passarci? Arriva il beat. Esatto, allora qua lo so su.
Ok.
Solo la parte bassa della laringe, della trachea, scusa, non la laringe. Ok, adesso fammelo però attaccati a destra. Stessa cosa ma attaccati a destra, impara a farlo pure a destra. Perde mai. Vedi, adesso passa a destra. Ok, hai sentito che quando lo fai parti da un punto, parti da più sotto. Che fa sto giro, vedi che fa? Fallo girare, fallo salire e fallo passare a sinistra. Vai, vai, continua. Passa a sinistra, fallo a sinistra. No, non sale a sinistra bassi, fallo salire, trovatelo che lo fai salire, come a destra. Esatto, vedi che cambiano gli armonici e cambia il suono? Esatto, esatto.
What we can say about these examples? That, as I wrote, Eddie Moore arrived,
that he was with great capacity of tilt, but into what we call two high positions into old vocal jargon, also said a two hyperkinetic system. He went to all the teachers, the best teacher he could find in London, and nobody could help him. Because again, they were working on the skillfulness of the singer. And on this, I'm the pioneer of this. So, of course, they were excellent, but they had not the tools to do that. And that's why I do the videos, I write, I present. What was confusing for him, and it is confusing for everybody when we do correctly, is that at first the nature of voice cannot produce immediately the correct tilt, because we have to develop the functions and the ratio of the functions and the synergistic ratios of the functions of all the vocal tract muscles implied, and especially into the larynx, so that for a little time he has the sensation that he is regressing into his singing. And a little it's true. A little it's true. You cannot get to what you want just by getting to what you want. You have to do what is necessary to get there. And that's why success often is not linear. He gets a comeback, he gets a comeback, he gets a comeback, he gets a comeback. Because into this phase, we are intentionally working on what he had not developed. If he had not developed, he had not developed. But the point is it better in his case to develop it or not? In his case, he was a fantastic musician, fantastic singer. He got tired all the time, too much for a career. That is a problem, because one song, okay. But when you have to do a lot of concerts, 2 gigs, 4 gigs per week, you get impaired. So no. Second thing, since he had not his natural voice into the tilt that he was doing, he got covered by the instruments. And again, it does rock. You put an electric guitar, you don't hear the singer anymore. That is a problem, because it's not his natural voice. Third, he loses a lot of artistic capacity because he has not the registers of his voice to do those kind of things. What you hear 6 months after that we finished is that since he is the good singer that he was, he could find back all the functions and the skillfulness that he had into his natural voice. Also said he had exactly what he had previously, but without impairing his vocal folds and risking damaging them, and he had problems in the past. So it was really, I don't want to, of course you don't want to, and there are tools not to. Second, he could have more voice in the low, in the medium, to put some drive again, to put some overdrive, to put some distortion, so to be again with his style. And what you have not, you don't realize, because it is my work and it's not common knowledge now, this kind of improvement takes all the time of the tissues improvement. Also said, from when we start using the natural voice, the tissues improve for 3 years, 2-3 years. Also said, this is just a starting point. Okay? For Circe, if you hear, the first thing, she had to lower it down because she didn't want to have the thinned sound. And her is exactly the opposite case than Eddie Morrow. Eddie Morrow was hyperkinetic. Circe was in a sort of adductory deficit by the fact that she has never developed the natural voice, and that the teachers that she had previously, or everybody that has advised her, did not have this kind of knowledge to make her develop as her natural voice and then to put the tilt. With her, I show some exercises which are exactly those that we use to develop the natural voice. I did not use exactly the same with Eddie because they started from something completely different. nearly opposed. The third case. She could, in performance, manage in some sort. But it was the end of the career. With a level of unhappiness, human unhappiness that you can imagine. She's got mainstream. She goes on. And, you see, as if nothing had never... as if she had never been in this state. In this state was the capacity of singing of a very high level, but not the capacity of maintaining and getting back to a nature of high quality phonation. It happened a polyp before starting the career, and there is a scarring on the vocal fold. So that it's something that we have, but you can teach your body and your brain to avoid into phonation the part with the scarring and putting the phonation into the extension where naturally would be there by some other contributions that are my specialty. Mainstream in career, happy, the mainstream career she wanted since many years. So that is why we put into context. Have a very good time and good music and good voice.